Well, hello there, motherfuckers. So Ghostbusters has just been released, and the reviews are out. 75% on Rotten Tomatoes for Ghostbusters, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in the least bit. So, you know, of course, they're rating movies down right now. It's really funny. It's like you know that movie is bad, and you know that like anybody who saw the original Ghostbusters is probably not going to like this movie. Like you look at it, and we've seen quite a few scenes. Trailers nowadays give us more insight into a movie than we want sometimes. Like Terminator Genesis spoiling things right there in the trailer. Batman versus Superman, you had Doomsday getting spoiled in the trailer. The trailer shows too much sometimes, but it's also sometimes it works in the movie's favor because they reveal a little bit more and you kind of see what you're in for. And we knew what we were in for with Ghostbusters. We saw the CGI that doesn't even look good. Practical effects, trick photography, as some people would say. Back in the '80s, looks just tenfold superior to what we saw in this trailer. And right away, I'm looking at the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, 75%. So it's not like the most amazing thing. It's not like Captain America: Civil War, but what's in the reviews? What am I looking at the reviews? I'm seeing people. Just go ahead, go look on Rotten Tomatoes. Right away, they're saying that anybody who badmouthed this movie are nerds and we're wrong. Anybody who's naysaying against this movie, like it's got to be nerds. It can't be anybody else. It's just the nerds. Yeah, it's not that it's a bad movie. It's not that this movie has some horrible dialogue. We saw the main jokes. Really, they showed us all the jokes in the trailer. Like I said, in today's world of even the critics admitting it, the trailers show too much. So we've seen a lot of the jokes, a lot of the funny jokes that are supposed to be there and supposed to hook us in. So as we're sitting there in the theater, watching the trailer, we're supposed to laugh, and we're not getting any laughs. There were no laughs in the theater, and right there, the movie has failed. If the trailer is not getting any excitement, in a theater, packed with the stadium style seating, it's a big theater. It's sitting, a couple of hundred people, and you only get a couple of chuckles. Your movie's going to suck. It's going to fail. It's going to be a bomb. So what is this? It's just, oh yeah, it's the internet nerds and everything. The trailer, the official trailer video for Ghostbusters, got the most dislikes in the history of YouTube. It's a historic number of dislikes. That that would tell you something. Now, there's a lot of things on here that get disliked and voted down and stuff, and I've even had videos like that getting because it kind of flies in the face of popular opinion. But it's different when it's not an opinion; it's a fucking movie trailer, and people are showing so much hate and angst towards it. Isn't it so convenient that all the critics are pretty much praising it? There's very few negative reviews out there. At the most, we're getting people saying that it's above average. And this is just all too convenient. And the whole point of this is why I had to make this video. Oh, Brad, you haven't seen the movie yet. You're one to talk. I think we could all agree. Most people were in unison about, when I talked about my initial trailer reaction for Ghostbusters. Most people agree with me. The video got likes, the comments were pretty positive, and I wasn't really too surprised by that because when I look at the official trailer and I see that this has got a historic number of dislikes. I mean, think about it. Since the inception of YouTube, all the things, all the opinions, and all the things that have been done here on YouTube, the fact that that video would get people to click dislike that many times, that truly means something. I mean, that's not something you could ignore. It's historic in the whole history of YouTube. Just think of how many videos are on this fucking site, how many accounts there are, how many channels there are posting videos, how many other movie trailers there are. The fact that this broke fucking records, it means that, well, this is not good. This is not something of quality. People are not happy about this. You see, because this is like, it's different with the Force Awakens. It's a different director and all that, but it still was made with love and care. The Force Awakens was made with love and care. We saw familiar faces. We were eased back into the Star Wars universe, and it felt very much like Star Wars. Here, you have a franchise. Well, it's not as big as, say, Star Wars or Back to the Future. Ghostbusters is pretty big. I mean, and they still got a lot of merchandising sales. I mean, you walk into a Walmart and you see Ghostbusters shirts. The Ghostbusters logo is probably one of the most famous logos of all time. I mean, people recognize the Ghostbusters logo like the Coca-Cola logo, for God fucking sakes. I mean, it is world famous. And basically, this this is kind of like if the Force Awakens took the logo, took some of the names and the lightsaber and all that, just like the same thing with the proton packs and in Ghostbusters. They take some of the familiar territory of the franchise, but they're perverting it. It would be like if J.J. Abrams did the same thing to Star Wars. People would be fucking outraged. And Ghostbusters is not quite as popular as Star Wars, probably not even close, but it's still a very popular franchise. It's a beloved franchise. And I think everybody could agree that the first movie is a classic. And everybody who's seen it's pretty much enjoyed. I haven't talked to one person. I've talked to people who haven't seen Ghostbusters, but just about everybody who has seen it pretty much loves it. Not just likes it, but loves it and realizes it's a classic movie full of classic actors, legendary faces of the silver screen, and they are beloved characters and actors, and it is a beloved movie. It is cherished, and when it comes to American films, the Ghostbusters comes up. It's on a lot of lists, a lot of 100 film lists even I've seen. It's a very, very popular movie. It goes beyond the cult following. It is a popular franchise film that is very loved. It was a big budget film, but it was a movie that was made with a lot of love and care and a lot of attention to detail, and it had a sense of entertainment and comedic value that most people, equally enjoy. It was one of those movies that had a little something for everybody. Had the thrills, had the action, had the comedy, had the great acting. It just had everything that you could ask for in a movie. That's probably why, it is something kind of like Star Wars, something for everybody. It just, it transcends genre, it transcends, groups that would normally enjoy a movie of this sort. It was one of those types of movies. It was a pop culture event, the release of the original Ghostbusters. So a lot of people, enjoy this movie, including myself. And so what you have here with the release of the new Ghostbusters, can't even fucking talk. I haven't even seen the movie yet. It's retarding my mind just even talking about it. Slowly, you could probably see brain cells just floating away from my head here. So what you've got here is a perversion of the original Ghostbusters. It is like an insult. It is enormous outrage. It's kind of like, Indiana Jones is getting a new film, but Harrison Ford is not going to be included in it. Now I'm not going to take it apart because you know uh, I've even said that maybe this time, maybe they pick a new Indiana Jones, but it needs to be done with a lot of love and care. And of course, nobody can replace Harrison Ford, but I'm open to the idea. I just got to see how it is. See, I wouldn't be opposed to a new cast in Ghostbusters. I mean, it would be pretty hard to replace legendary guys like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd. I mean, these guys are irreplaceable. Throw in a couple of other characters like Rick Moranis, and they're just these are just actors that can't be replicated. They can't even you can't even parody them in a way or try to really act like them. They're just such individuals when it comes to the silver screen. And so when you put a bunch of SNL actors and Melissa McCarthy in the starring role, replacing Bill Murray, I'm sorry, this is not an adequate cast. I mean, right from the start, the actors don't even need to open their mouths, and I'm already dismissing it because no, this is just it's not good. These actors have not proven themselves to step into the boots of these Ghostbusters, and they might be playing different characters that are not affiliated, but this is still a part of the same Ghostbusters timeline. It is taking place after the first two Ghostbusters movies, so it is in the same franchise, and therefore it is guilty as charged of not being good right from the start. Because I just right from the start, you can't accept these actors. You've already seen how they're doing in the trailer. They've already set a line. Everybody set a line, and it all sucked. It looked horrible. It's not even like, okay, well, let's see how it is. It was so bad that it's just like, what is the name of the black actress? She falls off the stage, and she already has that line about like racism and everything. And I'm like, you're bringing in these jokes that are just so far out there, and just this is not a movie for everybody. I'm just saying that right now. This is not a movie for. They turned it into a popcorn flick. This is like that movie. I don't know what it's coming out with the guy from Workaholics, the guy who plays Adam. Was a great actor, by the way. I enjoyed, but you see, like the movie's like stupid. Like there's some funny parts, but it's dumb. And it kind of reminded me of that. It's like one of those throwaway movies where there's just a lot of dumb jokes, and you laugh at it, and then you drive home after the theater, and you kind of don't ever talk about it again because it's not one of those movies like the original Ghostbusters, or Back to the Future, or Indiana Jones that you remember, and you tell your kids and your grandkids to go watch these films, and then they enjoy them, and then the generations just keep enjoying these films because they're timeless classics, and this is it's not a timeless classic. I don't even have to see the film to know that. I'm still contemplating checking out the film. I want to go see it more. Like I want to just come back and I want to share my opinions. I know it's going to be negative. I'm going to go in that. I'm going to go into that movie with a bad attitude. I know that I am. I'm going to sit down. I am going to say I'm going to hate this movie. I'm not going to feel bad about it because I'm justifying that. But I just want to just see how bad it is, and I just want to make a review here on YouTube, and I just want to. I just and I want to compare it. I think that maybe I will watch the original Ghostbusters before I go, or maybe I'll go see this movie and then watch the original Ghostbusters maybe after that and do the review. I don't know what order I'm going to do it in. Wherever I get around to doing, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do plan on seeing it. It's just I have to do a review on it. I want to share my thoughts on it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my thoughts on this movie because I just have to see it. I just have to see how much worse this can get in the trailer. It's like I normally would say, maybe I'll say as a joke in this video, like, oh, okay, so maybe I'll come back and maybe I'll be surprised, and you're probably saying in the video, oh, watch, Brad. I bet, you're a man of unique tastes. You go against the grain a lot. A lot like Civil War, everybody gave you a hard time. But then take a look when I did that video with Civil War. It started off with a lot of dislikes, but then as the video started circulating and started getting more and more views on it, and people realized that, hey, you know what, Brad's right. And then we found out that all the other people who disliked that movie came out of the woodwork, and then the likes started going up more. That's just how it is. So it's like, but no, this is not going against the grain. I do go against the grain, admittedly so, but this is not going against the grain. This is just me voicing my opinion on what I see. Like I said, I've always said it time and time again on this channel. I call a spade a spade. I call it like I see it. We're not politically correct. We don't hold back. We don't pull any punches here on this channel. We say exactly what we see. I mean, if I see a dog walk by in the street, a dog walks by in the street. If I don't know if it's like, yeah, if it's raining outside, it's raining. It's not sunny. It's not snowing. I'm calling it like I see it. I see a bad movie. I see a trailer that's flopping, no funny jokes in it, horrible effects. And what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say when I see a piece of trash like that? Am I supposed to say, oh, let's see how it is? No, I mean, And I know a lot of people are going to agree with me, but I don't want people just to agree with me for the sake of it. You know, if you think that this movie has potential, well, why don't you tell me? Tell me in the comments. You think it has potential? Go ahead. Tell me it has potential. Tell me how the movie has potential. Tell me how these critics on Rotten Tomatoes are right. You think that these women that they picked for this movie, this is a fitting cast? I mean, SNL is flops. I haven't seen a funny skit. The only time I saw a funny skit on SNL was not by a cast member. It was Larry David, you know, doing his Bernie Sanders character. That's, and he's not even a part of SNL. It took a guy like Larry David to show up the whole fucking entire cast of SNL, and that's what we're getting. We're getting an SNL cast and Melissa McCarthy. Whereas Melissa McCarthy had a successful film. Prior to Ghostbusters, Bill Murray had countless films. He was beloved here in America. He was beloved internationally. People loved Bill Murray. That's why they casted him in Ghostbusters. They knew that that was the guy they needed to give birth to a new franchise film, to give birth to a classic film, because they knew a guy like Bill Murray could take on that role, take on the character, and give the film life. Same thing goes for Dan Aykroyd and all the other actors, even Sigourney Weaver, who's in there. An all-star cast. I look at this film and I know Bill Murray's in there somewhere. We're going to have to scrounge around. He's probably in there for 30 seconds and he's not even playing himself. I mean, this is outrageous. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this film. Even if the original cast was in it and they gave their proton packs to the girls, you know, if everybody was still alive, and they did like a passing of the torch, I probably still wouldn't even accept it because this cast is terrible. The jokes are terrible. The effects are terrible. I'm repeating myself, you know, because I'm trying to do this for emphasis here. But instead, you know, let's not talk about this. Let's just say, oh, the movie is better than we expected. Yeah, you know, that you know, it's better than I expected. You know, that's like taking a shit and then, you know, it's not as smelly as you thought it was going to be. Well, you know, what it's still shit. It might not smell as bad as you thought, but at the end of the day, like I said, a spade is a spade and a piece of shit is still a piece of shit. Call us nerds, call us what you want. You know, they want the film to make me. So this is the thing. What I want to say. The whole point of why I brought up my Civil War review. Why are you bringing up the Civil War review? Trying to promote that video. Trying to still won't get over it. People are gonna say, I still can't accept the fact that was better than Batman versus Superman. You know, they're still gonna get into all that. We're not going to get into all that. We're not going to even talk about that. We're not talking about Civil War. But I brought up the point that I noticed that every single movie that came out around the time of Civil War, that it was getting, you know, bad reviews. And I saw some of those movies and I didn't understand why, you know, they got such bad reviews. Like I looked at Batman versus Superman, he had an extra 30 minutes to the Ultimate Edition, and all of a sudden it's the movie. Let's bow down to it. The movie. You know, I find it hard to believe that anybody could say a movie like that is terrible. I mean, you know, it's like they were making like it was Plan 9 from outer space, for God fucking sakes. It was the worst thing ever. Eyeballs were melting. You were looking like the villain from Raiders of the Lost Ark just by watching them. Oh my God, Doomsday! You know, you're complaining and all this. Oh, Lex Luthor, he turned Zod into Doomsday. You know, and oh, these little points just made it the worst movie of all time. You know, let's not even forget how many bad things were in Civil War, but we're not going to get into that. We talked about that at length. For God's sakes, I made like a 50-minute video about that fucking shit. I'm not going to tread on it. But I brought up the point that it was a bit unusual that the movie got panned to the level that it did. And judging by the response, even on my little video here on YouTube, you know, like the peanuts views that some other people get, it still got a number of likes, and it still got quite a few people saying that they enjoyed the movie and they thought Civil War was bullshit. I don't know if it's DC versus Marvel fanboy rhetoric or whatever it is. I don't know. People liked the movie, and it wasn't a fair representation of the movie. Basically, we all knew it. Disney's a conglomerate. Batman versus Superman is not part of the Disney club because Disney owns everything. So they're going to vote everything down. They're going to fucking Give bad reviews to everything else because it's not a Disney property. And it was pretty obvious. There was a little bit too many bad reviews going out. And like this year alone, I've never seen this many bad reviews. Like the critics have fucking lost their minds. They're giving low reviews. I've never seen reviews this low. Maybe they're getting harsher, but like I said, they're not even making sense half the time. All the comments I saw about Batman versus Superman not making any sense, the movie did make sense. People weren't paying attention to it, I guess. I don't know what the fuck it is. But all I'm saying is that they paid off the critics. See, the thing is, if you pay off the critics to give a bad review, those people are less likely to see those movies, therefore making that movie look better. And maybe if you haven't seen that movie yet, you're going to go see the higher rated film. So you see, so that's the idea. It's about making money. And of course, Disney has the money to do it. Disney could pay people off. It's like, it's not like this is the first time we heard it. It had been outed that sites like IGN and GameSpot, they were paid off to give games like Madden reviews. They got caught. They got caught by the internet media. They found out that they were accepting payoffs, which is should be illegal. That's bribery. I guess I don't know if that applies to to journalists here on the internet, but it should be considered a crime. You're misleading the public. I don't know about millions, but thousands or hundreds of thousands of people are traveling to your website. To read your thoughts, and they're not your thoughts, but they're the thoughts of a giant corporation. So that's not fair to everybody else. I don't know. So the thing is here, what I see is I see a lot of paid off critics. There's no way that this movie is worthy of a 75% average on Rotten Tomatoes. There's no way that this many people, based on the number of dislikes, I don't even have to see the movie to know that that is bullshit. And you must know that that's bullshit. If you're not going to say it's bullshit, then you're lying to yourself, and you're lying to me, and you're lying to everybody. You're lying to the guy in the comments underneath you. Yeah, I mean, be honest here. This is paying it off, and if it was ever a grander example, I mean, this is the grandiose of examples here. You couldn't get a better example of how critics are paid off than this. I never even anticipated that this would happen. I thought that they might have just gave this movie a bad review. This isn't even a Disney property, but it shows with the right amount of money that I don't even know who makes this. Who makes this? Sony? Fox? I don't fucking know. I think it's Sony or something. Whoever the hell makes, whoever put this piece of trash out, it's quite obvious that they paid them off. They want this to be that kind of movie, like, oh, okay, so all the nerds, because they hold Ghostbusters near and dear to their heart. It's not just nerds. If it makes you a nerd to like Ghostbusters, so fucking sue me, I guess. But they hold it near and dear to their heart because no, it's not because they're just nerds. It's because it's a good movie and people enjoy it, and it's a rewatchable movie. It's a quotable movie. It's a movie that has a lot to like. Like I said, it's a movie made for everybody, practically, of all ages. Everybody could appreciate it from all walks of life, and that was the great thing about the movie. It was a movie that brought people together based on interest or preferences. It was that kind of movie. So they want it to be that kind of movie where the nerds look bad. Oh, these are just some basement dwellers on the internet that are just fucking, crying because this movie is not exactly like. And I know there's some people that might dislike that based on that, but exactly this is the point. It is a movie that's a little bit way too different. It is a little bit too much of a departure. The movie Ghostbusters didn't take itself seriously, but this movie is different than that. This is just not a movie where they're not taking the production, the filmmaking aspect of this movie seriously. It looks like a fucking joke. How the fuck is it that a movie from over what is it now, 30 years ago, maybe even a little less than that, like 20 something years ago, how is it that that movie looks better than this movie with all the advanced technology? The fucking ghosts look transparent. They look fake. They don't even look like they're there. And this level of comedy. I mean, whoever wrote this trash needs to go back to the drawing board. They shouldn't even be allowed to make films. You can't be a comedy filmmaker if it's not funny. That's all this is. This is just one of those lame movies. It's like a Kevin Hart movie. Like the movie like Ride Along or something, or the movie with The Rock with Kevin Hart, and they're just plastering the fucking Ghostbusters logo on there because, like I said, it's almost as identifiable as the fucking Coca-Cola logo. I mean that's how iconic it is. You see that logo everywhere. Even when I was a kid, we had Ghostbuster magnets on the fucking fridge as a kid. T-shirts, everything, buttons, you name it. Little pins, hats with Ghostbusters on it. Even when there wasn't even a new movie coming out, the Ghostbusters logo was the most iconic thing that you could ever see in film. So when you saw that, and of course the theme song. So you got the theme song there, you got the logo, but the movie, that part sucks. And that's the whole thing. It doesn't matter if it's got the music, it's got the logo, it's got Ghost in there. It doesn't fucking matter. You could have all the ghosts in the world. It doesn't matter. It looks like trash. It sounds like trash. It's trash. And like I said, they're just trying to make everybody feel like, like, oh, they were wrong about this movie. All those nerds on the internet who, made so yeah, that was all nerds. Just nerds on the internet, just basement dwellers who voted down that YouTube video in historic fashion. It's not the fact that they made a shitty movie. Let's not even bring that up. Let's not even bring that up or make that thought come into our heads for one solitary fucking split second. No. Let's not blame the filmmakers. Instead, let's blame the fucking nerds on YouTube. You guys are wrong. This movie's great, of course. We're wrong. Why? Why would we ever be right about something like that? Not that the movie's bad. That's not the reason we're voting it down. We're just because we're mean, angry nerds. Ew, we want to misrepresent the movie. Get the fuck out of here. 75% of Rotten Tomatoes. The critics should be ashamed of themselves. They should be fucking ashamed of themselves. They're filthy and dirty and rotten. And they're lying to the people. They want this movie to make money so desperately without putting the effort into a film. There's way too many movies like this. Look at all the Fast and the Furious movies. You think those are quality films? For God fucking sakes. No. It's just they know what they need to do to make to make a quick buck, and they're hoping on banking on the Ghostbusters name without putting the love and care and effort of the original into the film. Like I said, it would be the same reaction if it was any other franchise and they didn't take the same care. You know what I'm saying? It's not about it being a different cast. It's not about any of that. It's like they picked a poor cast and they it's poor filmmaking, and we can see that. We've had many different trailers, many different perspectives on this movie, and they've all sucked and they've all looked horrible and they've all, if not been worse than the next, worse than the last. So there you go, guys. That's my little precursor to seeing this movie. I am sadly probably gonna go see this movie to check it out because it's like a car wreck. I've talked about this before. This is how I am with certain movies. This is the same thing with WWE. It's the same thing with a lot of things. I like car wrecks. I like seeing how bad something can be sometimes, and I want to see the destruction of this great franchise. I want to see it happen. I want to be there for the historic moment. And I'm sorry, I don't steal movies on the internet or anything like that. Not gonna watch it on my phone. No, I want to see the destruction of Ghostbusters on a big fucking screen. I want to see it right in front of me so I could see the fucking movie fall. I want to see how they're going to ruin one of the greatest franchises in film history. Let's see it happen. Let's see it happen, guys. All right, those are my thoughts. See you next time.